This segment of Naperville Sports Weekly is brought to you by the Daily Herald.
I am here at Naperville Central with second-year head coach of the Naperville Central wrestling team, Noah Fitzenreider. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So I want to start off with your wrestling career to start before your coaching career. Now, when did you start wrestling?
I think back in 5th grade is when I first started.
And what got you into it?
I actually was a basketball player for a while, but I wasn't very good. I fouled out of most games. So my older brother started wrestling in middle school, and my dad just kind of took us to practice. And so me and all my brothers started about the same time, and I liked the contact of the sport, so I just decided that basketball was over and I focused a little bit on wrestling then.
So was wrestling the one you're the best at, or was it your favorite, or both?
It was everything.
Yeah. Okay.
I played football too, but
okay.
I wrestled year round, so that's pretty much what I wanted to do.
And you went to Glenbar North, correct?
Wheaton North.
I'm sorry, Wheaton North.
That's okay.
I'm thinking the Glenbar North win you just had. We'll start with the Glenbar North win.
Sure.
You guys just beat Glenbar North for the first time in 18 years. They had their first conference loss.
Something like that, I think.
Now, sorry, I don't
know the exact stats for that too.
I think it was 18 years. What was the mindset going into that one, and how did you talk to them afterwards?
Well, I knew after last year, we were young last year. We had a young team. I think we started at one point, we had 6 freshmen in the lineup, but they could battle. So I knew that this year was going to be a better year for the young guys, and we have our senior leaders.
Yeah.
So I knew that as a dual team, we were going to be a pretty tough dual team. And then after the first week, we had a close match with Batavia. I thought we had a chance against Glenbar North. And I really thought that if we came out and we fought real hard, that we'd be in almost every match. And we were. We were in most of the matches. I think our boys are conditioned very well for the start of the season, so it helps out because we did a lot of good work in the third period. So it didn't go to plan. I didn't think that we would win. By a large margin. I thought it would be, and it was, every match was pretty tough, but in the end, I think that our conditioning and, we had a pretty good mindset going in and that point, and that helped out.
Now, Wheaton North, where you went, you got the conference splitting up, so you grew up kind of in this conference too, and I know there's been some changes, but can you talk to me, or talk about how that is to you, wrestling in it, and now some teams leaving?
Yeah, I know when people think of DuPage Valley, they think a lot of football because we've been such a powerhouse football conference. But a lot of people know, a lot of people don't know. We've been one of the best wrestling conferences for a long time. I remember when I was in high school in the DVC, there's a lot of state champs, a lot of state placers that came out of the DVC. So I've always thought of it as one of the best conferences, and it's because of the teams that are in it. Wheaton North, Glenbar North, Wheaton South, all those teams contribute, to being a powerhouse conference in wrestling. So it's disappointing to not have some of those great teams in here. At the same time, it gives us an opportunity to maybe, go look at some other schools, because there's a lot of schools. This is one of the best areas in the country for wrestling. The Chicagoland area is amazing when it comes to wrestling. So there's a lot of schools now that are tough and that can produce good wrestlers. So it gives us an opportunity to look, elsewhere to maybe introduce some teams that are some tough wrestling schools and build the conference up from there.
So you wrestled obviously in the DVC with your brothers. You grew up with them wrestling. Now you all went to North Central, wrestled there. Talk to me about how that, maybe a little rivalry, in-house rivalry with the brothers, and why North Central?
Well, the in-house rivalry, there was a lot of holes in walls and stuff. But for the most part, because wrestling's such a demanding sport, once you're out of the wrestling room, it's your time to relax a little bit. You put forth so much energy in the wrestling room that, out of the wrestling room, you kind of just want to relax and take a step back. But my older brother went to North Central, decided to wrestle there, and then it kind of just fell in line with the rest of us. I really liked the program over there. Jim Miller, the athletic director, was the coach back when I, decided to go there, and he's pretty much what got me to go there. His philosophy on wrestling, and then it's gotten better ever since I stepped foot in there. My freshman year, the team was good, and I think until Nate graduated, they just kept getting better and better, which helped keep the family wanting to go there.
Yeah.
Because I know Nate and my other brother Jason had opportunities to go other places, and I think just that program and how good of a school it was, academically too, it helped keep, everybody wanted to go there.
And your family helped keep them successful too with you guys
Hopefully.
being good. So you got to practice here, day-to-day basis. What do you try to do as a coach, and what's the biggest difference, do you think, as a coach as opposed to a player? Obviously, you're not wrestling, but what do you think is the biggest difference?
How much you can control is a pretty big difference. When I was a wrestler, I thought the easiest part to control was your mindset. Whatever you can put yourself in whatever mindset you needed to be. The hard part was, the technique, getting in shape, the drilling, stuff like that. But as a coach, you can't force people to have a certain mindset. You can tell them what they should have, or what you could put your philosophy on them, but it's kind of out of your hands once it comes out of your mouth.
Yeah.
So I think the hardest part about coaching is getting the mindsets of a lot of different kids and trying to have everybody be set up in the same way, have the same kind of mindset, which I try to put forth my mindset as far as what I thought of as wrestling and how I approach the sport into all the kids. But to just, like I said, once I say it, it's out of my hands. So I think the hardest part is getting them to buy in, and then getting everybody on the same level at that point.
How would you describe yourself as a coach in your second year here? Vocally, anything like that?
Vocally, I yell a lot. No, I came from, growing up in wrestling, especially, in my household, toughness was a big part of the sport. It's part of the reason why I gravitated towards wrestling more than any other sport that I tried. I tried a couple different ones, but wrestling was always the one that, I fell back on, because there's just a certain toughness that comes with wrestling. And it's not something you could fake. It's not something you could, go halfway with. You either, the mental toughness part, you're either all in or you're not. And so my job here is to try to show them what that is, to try to get them to be as mentally prepared, as mentally tough as they can be, so that other aspects of the sport become easier.
What do you miss least about wrestling as a player?
Miss least?
As an athlete?
Early mornings, probably, which I still have early mornings now, but I never liked cutting weight, but it was always part of the sport. It almost made you feel like you were a wrestler, that you got to cut weight. But I won't miss coming in. I won't miss morning runs. That's for sure. I think that and burpees.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've done a burpee on my own since wrestling was over.
I
I tell them to do it all the time. I might do them with them a couple times, but I've never tortured myself with burpees since wrestling has been over.
And you mentioned cutting weight. How much are you involved in that with them?
Every aspect of it.
Yeah.
I just talked to some more people. We don't call it cutting weight. We call it weight management here, because cutting weight is a negative thing.
Yeah.
Weight management is a positive. We try to teach them how to balance diet and exercise. If that means gaining weight, then we gain weight. If that means losing weight, then we lose a little bit of weight. But in my mind, it's what makes this sport different than everything else. No other sport you have to, every other sport you got to manage your diet and you have to be healthy and you have to exercise, but no other sport has a demand like wrestling does when it comes to managing weight, managing your diet, all that stuff. So it just, a lot of people look negatively about weight management. I think that, it just makes wrestling stand out as one of the best sports, one of the toughest sports, even more.
And just kind of wrap up here, obviously the goal is to get as many wrestlers to state as possible. With people coming back that have been to state already, how much does that help this team?
The leadership is big. Like I said, we're young. We have a lot of young talent. We got a lot of young guys who are wrestling up. So to have kids like Jake Keating, who have been there, and Jake is the perfect kind of leader, because he wasn't born with the talent of a state qualifier. He got it through hard work.
Yeah.
Jake didn't even start on varsity as a freshman. He was our JV wrestler as a freshman, and he has done everything that you could ever ask for a kid to do to be successful, and it's worked for him. It's made him successful. So kids see that, they gravitate towards it, And then we have, other leaders, Christian Nussbaum, he's the vocal leader of the group. We have Jake that just, you watch him and it inspires you. And then Christian tells you how to do it. So we have a good mix of senior and upperclassmen leadership. And so, since we're young, as soon as they get a little bit of success, they buy in even more. They know that it's working. They know that, what they're told is going to eventually turn into success. So it helps a lot in the room.
And last thing here, with the guys that have made the state, excluding them, can you tell us about some of the new guys that maybe are coming up on varsity or haven't been to state yet, or that are really improving?
Yeah, Christian Nussbaum, he hasn't been to state yet, but he's been in the hunt the last couple years, and he definitely will be this year. Kyle Gutash is a sophomore who's at 106 for us, who's having a great year. He's undefeated right now. And again, he's kind of been under the radar. Not a lot of people know who he is. He had a fairly successful freshman. He was varsity last year. A fairly successful freshman season, but he's kind of shocking people. Yeah. He's come up. And then we have a couple other guys. Jackson Punzel is a sophomore. Ben Cinchetti's a sophomore. Cam Palmer's a sophomore. All getting, kind of their first full season taste on varsity and doing real well. So. We have a lot of guys. Our freshman team is outstanding this year. So you'll see some different names as the year goes on. I'm sure as soon as they get their opportunities, they're kind of hounding me right now to get more opportunities up. So I haven't let them yet, but we'll have a couple different names as the year goes on, just trying people out and seeing who can go up. Yeah,
it's great to have youth.
It's nice. It's nice. We haven't had that in the past.
Yeah.
But I think because our youth program and stuff like that, we're producing better quality wrestlers as freshmen, which is a big key to success, especially around here.
Well, we'll be hearing your guys' name for a while, and best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yep.